Hey, Ohana. Let's get started today in child's pose. So, coming down onto the mat, making sure that our knees are nice and wide and that our big toes are coming to touch behind us. Sending the weight back into our hips and then forward into our head. Making this nice and passive, so bending the elbows and letting them rest down onto the mat. Taking a moment here to connect with the breath. Feeling the expansion of the inhale and the contraction of the exhale. Cultivating an intention for our practice today of awareness. Bringing that awareness deeper into the physical body and into our energetic mind. Start to notice the sensations of the weight of the fingers, the palms, the elbows, the center of the forehead pressing down into the earth, the weight of the knees, the tops of the feet, and the heaviness of the hips. Just noticing how you feel. Begin to witness the movement of the breath. As we inhale, the back body lifts closer to the sun, and as we exhale, it falls deeper towards the earth. Let everything else go. Starting to cultivate some movement here. Extending the stretch a little bit further. Start to reach the arms out long in front. Maybe slightly pressing the weight further back into the hips to extend the spine a little bit deeper here. We're going to take our hands and walk them over towards the left side of the mat. Feeling that stretch through the right side body. Just starting to wake up the sides. Allow your next inflow to gently drag the weight back through center, and your outflow to take it over to the right, feeling that stretch then on the left side. Utilizing your next in-breath to gently bring the torso back through into neutral. And then gently begin to drag the weight into the palms, stacking the knees underneath the hips, and making sure that our toes are in alignment with our kneecaps. We're going to close our eyes here and create this tabletop shape from inside. Start to actually feel the palms beneath the shoulders, making any adjustments that you feel necessary here. Start to feel the knees beneath the hips, the pressure of the middle of the palm, and the stability of the kneecaps. Pressing up and out of the earth, nice and strong here. Breathing into the belly. Preparing for our cat-cow sequence. On an inhale, start to drop the belly, rolling the chest forward. And as you exhale, rounding, pulling the navel up towards the spine, chin to chest, tailbone towards the forehead. Inhale, drop the belly, open the chest. And exhale, rounding into that cat phase. Just continuing to flow like this with your breath. Noticing if you want to linger further in one posture than the other. Just kind of listening to the body as we begin to wake it up. Honoring any boundaries that maybe we have within ourselves. Noticing the stopping points of the expansion of the chest and noticing the stopping points of the rounding of the shoulders. Not judging, but just becoming aware. Let's find a couple more cycles here. And then finding that nice neutral spine. We're going to walk our hands further out in front to give ourselves a little bit more space as we take those full body circles. So sending the weight back into the hips as we start to roll out through the shoulders, rolling out through the neck and head if you'd like. Really just kind of taking this fluid movement. What does the body need to loosen up even further? Kind of make this nice and organic and just follow the flow. Starting in one direction, and notice the areas that you're starting to feel this. Maybe in the outer of the hip, the glute, the shoulders. Taking one more full revolution, and then as you're ready, reversing the direction, noticing a difference in rhythm from one side of the body to the other, and always not cultivating judgment here, but just cultivating awareness, noticing the difference from one side to the other, and finding acceptance. Finishing it out here, making sure that we're nice and even, and then stacking the knees back underneath the hips. We're going to walk our hands even further forward as we sink our chest down towards the mat, coming into our puppy pose. Now you can bring your forehead down to the earth if that feels better. Otherwise, for a deeper stretch, bringing the chin down to the mat and trying to rest the chest down. So you should be feeling a nice tight pull to the shoulder blades area here and the underside of the armpits. Close down the eyes if that feels good. Start to really focus on the breath, pulling it all the way into the belly, and always keeping that awareness into the areas of the body that you're feeling that tension, where you're feeling sensation, and pulling the oxygen into those spaces with an intention of creating relaxation. I choose to let go. Nice, slow, deep breath. And then gently beginning to press the weight into the palms as we draw ourselves back into a nice stacked position. Wrists come underneath the shoulders. We're going to curl under the back toes and find a slight lift of the knees off the mat so that we're just hovering our kneecaps off of the earth, starting to light that fire in the belly. And then notice that when you slightly shift the weight further into the shoulders, you can get a deeper engagement into the core. So we're feeling even that fire start to burn a little bit hotter, holding strong here, noticing the thoughts that come to mind. Taking one more deep breath in. And as you exhale, sending the hips up and back for downward facing dog. First down dog of the day, or at least of the practice. So taking some time to really pedal it out here. Some free movement, maybe wagging the tail from side to side, bending one knee into the center and then the other, maybe any movement through the shoulders. And then when you feel satisfied, coming into a moment of stillness, really pressing up from the center point of the palms, all the way up from the elbows to the shoulders, and lifting the tailbone nice and high. Just checking in with the breath here. And then lifting to the balls of the feet and taking as many teeny tiny little baby steps as you can, traveling all the way up to meet your hands at the front of your mat. Take your time with this. And when you arrive, letting go of the weight of the upper body, nice and heavy, maybe reaching for opposite elbows here. Taking a moment in stillness just to feel the heaviness. And then maybe adding that little sway from side to side. Nothing too vigorous, going nice and slow as we wake our body up. Remembering to always stay connected to the breath. As you're finished, dropping the arms, letting them come nice and long, and then inhaling to that halfway rise, feeling that length from the back body. Exhale, forward fold. See if you can create a little bit more depth here. With the next inhale, lifting to that halfway rise. Once again, nice lengthened back body. Exhale, deepest fold yet. One more time, we'll inhale to that halfway rise, pausing here and staying for the exhale, then allowing the arms to just drop out in front, dangling. And then finding that activation through the fingertips. Start to point down, dragging the navel towards the spine, chin to chest, and slowly begin to peel yourself up, one vertebrae at a time. The head is the last thing to rise. Opening up, the arms come up overhead. Start to interlace the fingers and bring the hands to the back of the head. Thumbs will extend alongside the neck. Taking a nice full breath in, really open the chest up to the ceiling. And as you exhale, bring the elbows to touch chin to chest, slight pull on the neck, but really just allowing the weight of the arms to assist you here. Inhale as we open, heart shines forward, elbows are wide. Exhale, rounding chin to chest, elbows try to connect with one another. One more full breath in, really opening and finding that expansion into the rib cage. And then as you exhale, pausing here. Once again, not letting the arms really pull, but just adding that traction with the natural weight of the body. Sitting here for a couple breaths. Noticing any sensations in the back body that you're feeling. How far can you feel this stretch from the top of the head all the way down to the tailbone and any spaces in between? On your next inhale, finding that space once again, opening the arms nice and wide, and then dropping the hands to the back body here to take a bind. Now, if we have tight shoulders, we can choose to keep a bend into the elbows, or if you're a little bit more bendy, we can start to lengthen out the arms here. Opening the chest, nice full breath in, and then as you exhale, slowly beginning to hinge forward, taking the crown of the head below the heart here. If we have space, we can start to bring the knuckles up towards the ceiling, or maybe even out in front. Just relaxing here, noticing the blood rush into the face and breathing through it. Gently begin to bend the knees deeply enough so that the torso rests on top of the thighs. Start to shift your gaze to the top of the mat and release the grip of the hands, sweeping the arms forward here and lifting the shoulders up over the hips as we place ourselves into our chair. Now notice if you are kind of sticking your bum out here, we really want to be making sure that we're mindful to round for the tailbone, creating that nice active line and breathing here, pulling that power in through the soles of the feet, into the core and into the heart space, continuing to breathe. Utilizing that next inhale to sweep the arms up, reaching up overhead. And then as you exhale, diving forward back into your forward fold. Inhaling as we lift to that halfway rise, finding length, and then exhaling, creating some depth. Deepest fold yet. Begin to plant the palms down to the mat, bend the knees, stepping back with one leg and then the other coming into our high plank. And we want to make sure that we're nice and sturdy here. So we don't have our bum sticking up towards the ceiling or sagging too far down towards the mat, but everything is nice at a gradual decline from the shoulders to the heels. Nice activation as we press up from the center of the palms. Now start to notice here what you're experiencing. What are the thoughts beginning to say to you? And try to create some calmness within the breath. The depth, pulling it all the way into the belly and sending it all the way out. On your next inhale, rocking forward, exhale, bending the elbows, flowing through chaturanga, but letting the body just relax down onto the mat. Untuck the toes, and on an inhale, slightly press the chest up, hovering the palms off of the ground for baby cobra. As you're ready, planting the fingertips alongside the mat so that we have some more space and pressing the chest up for wide cobra. Filling the lungs to completion here. Nice deep breath in. As you exhale, that right shoulder is going to start to dip into the center of the mat as we turn our gaze over towards that left elbow, feeling that nice spinal twist here. Utilizing an inhale to press yourself back to center. As you exhale, the left shoulder dips in and we check out the right. Noticing any differences again from one side to the other. Inflow brings us back to center, highest lift yet. And then as you exhale, softly rolling the chest back down towards the earth, feeling that relaxation. Planting the palms directly underneath the shoulders, curling under the back toes here as we set up for a nice strong transition into high plank. Full breath in. With your exhale, begin to press up and out of the mat, lifting the weight of the body on one straight line. Once again, breathing deeply into the navel center. And then as you exhale, go ahead and send the hips up and back for downward facing, Adho Mukha Savasana. Taking any movement here again that you feel is necessary before finding stillness. And once again, bringing our attention to that awareness. What are we noticing here in the body? Where can we press a little bit further to create a little bit better of a structure, more solid foundation? With an inhale, we're going to extend the right leg up towards the ceiling. Heel is lifted, toes are down. Everything is nice and sturdy. Full breath in. As you exhale, we're going to draw the knee in towards the nose, coming into cheetah pose. We're going to hold here, just breathing in and out, trying to cultivate the same ease and comfort in breath, regardless of the shape that the body creates. Holding here, see if you can lift that knee up even a little bit higher as it starts to want to sag down. And then as you're ready, on your next exhale, extending that right heel up and back once again, filling the lungs in extension, and then exhaling to travel through. Right leg comes through to that right thumb, setting up for a low lunge. So go ahead and let the left knee come down to the mat. Untuck the back toes, and then we'll take a little bit of a rock from front to back just to wring out the hamstring here. So creating a little bit of heat into the joint before coming into our static asana. So the next time that the weight comes back into the knee, pausing here for stillness, walking the hands up to the kneecap, making sure that our hips are nice and squared. We want to make sure that they're coming towards the front of the room. And then as you're ready, reaching the arms up towards the ceiling. Notice the structure of the spine here, trying to create length from the tailbone all the way through the crown of the head. And maybe if you would like, we can inhale to pull up a little bit higher. And as you exhale, take a slight lean back, opening the heart a little bit further and adding a little baby back bend here. Continuing to pull the breath deep into the belly. Using your next inhale to realign the spine, finding that nice long line. And then exhale as you bring the hands down to the hips. I'm going to transfer into a high lunge here. So curling under the back toes. On an inhale, begin to press up and out of the earth. Now, once you get here, you may notice that the stance is too wide. You can feel free to take a little bit of a half a step up here just to kind of situate yourself a little bit more solid. You know you're never stuck in a pose. When you feel like you have that nice strong foundation, go ahead and add the arms just as we did before, reaching up nice and tall from the shoulders. Nice engagement into the core here. Option once again to add a back bend. On an inhale, start to pull up from the fingertips, creating a little bit more length. And as you exhale, maybe sending the heart skyward. Slight lean up and back. Nice deep breaths with an inhale. We're going to gently bring the body back through to center and then take it all the way through to a 45-degree angle, keeping the belly lifted off of the thigh so everything is nice and strong here. We don't want to cock the neck so that it's dumping down towards the chest or lifting too far up towards the ceiling. So we want to make sure that the ears are placed between the biceps and we have that nice gradual line from the fingertips to the heel. As we prepare to transfer into our humble warrior, we'll spiral the back foot to a 45-degree angle. Bringing the hands to the back body, interlace the fingers. On an inhale, start to open the chest. As you exhale, returning to that 45-degree angle. If that's enough, pause here. Otherwise, take the right shoulder to the inside of the right knee and descend even further. Crown of the head drops towards the earth and knuckles will come up towards the sky. This can be quite intense as we start to feel the blood pooling into the face as we're constricting it through the arms. So continuing to breathe calmly and aware here. Preparing for our next transition. On an inhale, finding extension, releasing the grip, simultaneously pivoting on the ball of the back foot as we sweep the arms forward, and then gently drop that left knee back down to the earth. Hands can frame that right foot as we untuck the back toes, coming into our half splits. So finding length from that front leg. Weight is going to come into the heels. Our toes can come up towards the ceiling or maybe down towards the mat. And we want to make sure that our hips are nice and level here. So that right hip starts to pull back and the left one is pulling forward. When you feel like you have that nice alignment, go ahead and start to reach forward if you need a little bit more. Maybe we can even bring our forehead down towards our knee. Breathing deeply and trying to release those areas that we're feeling tension. I choose to let go. Lifting the crown of the head here, begin to bend back into that right knee. Curling under the left toes, we're just going to take a big step forward, returning to our forward fold here. Nice and heavy. Inhaling to that halfway rise. And exhaling, creating even more depth here. Crown of the head extends towards the mat. Soft bend through the knees. And on an inhale, sweep the arms up towards the ceiling. Lifting nice and high. Exhaling, your hands open into Tadasana. So letting them come down along the side bodies, palms facing open. Really bringing that awareness inward here. So start to notice if the body feels different energetically from side to side. As we've worked on the right side of the body, cultivating that same sensation, trying to equalize it out onto the left side, allowing yourself that space just to feel the difference here. Noticing the movement of the breath. The lift and lower of the chest. On an inhale, sweeping the arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, little baby back bend here, offering the heart up towards the sky. And then using that next inhale to create that long line, following that outflow all the way down into your forward folds. Inhaling, lifting to that halfway rise. And exhaling, bowing even further. Plant the palms here. Choose to step or float back into a high plank, whatever works for your body. Nice and strong here on an inhale, shifting forward. Exhale, chaturanga, slow lower down. Full breath in as we open the heart here. And then as you breathe out, sending it up and back for downward facing. Adho Mukha Savasana. Once again, returning to the breath. Pedaling it out, creating that awareness. On an inhale, beginning to prepare to lift up that left leg towards the ceiling. Leg comes nice and lifted. Squaring off the hips so toes are down, heel is skyward. Filling the lungs completely, and as you exhale, drawing the knee into the chest. Same thing as before, trying to lift it up as high as you can. When you start to feel that urge to drop the knee deeper towards the mat, see if you can pick it up a little bit deeper. And as you're ready for an out breath, we're going to send that left heel back up towards the ceiling, finding that extension, filling the lungs to completion. And as you exhale, setting up for a low lunge, dragging that left foot all the way through to the left hand and allowing that right knee to come down to the mat. Once again, taking that little bit of a ring into the hamstring as we rock from front to back, just creating that warmth on this side, equalizing the body. The next time that the weight comes into the knee, pausing here, finding static, lifting the hands up to the kneecap, making sure our hips are nice and squared, and then as you're ready, adding the arms, reaching up tall from the spine, chest is nice and open, and the breath is flowing all the way into the belly. We can choose to hold here. Otherwise, adding that back bend. Offer the heart further towards the sky, and the breath deeper into the abdomen. Using your next inflow to realign the spine and your outflow to bring the hands down to the hips. Preparing to make that transition for our high lunge, curling under the back toes, feeling strong, and on an inhale, pressing up from the mat. Once again, remembering if this stance is too wide for us, we can always make any sort of adjustment that we need to. And as you're ready, reaching long from the arms. Once again, choosing to stay just as we are. Otherwise, inhale, create a little bit more length, and exhale, slight lean back. Really opening up the chest and loosening up the spine. Using your next inhale to flow through center, taking it all the way into a 45-degree angle, creating that long line from the heel to the crown of the head, not dumping any pressure into the neck. Breathing here, keep the belly lifted from the thigh, nice strong body. Preparing for that humble warrior, start to pivot the back foot to a 45. Drop the hands to the back body as we interlace the fingers, taking a bind, open the heart. Exhale, return to that 45-degree angle. Stay here or drop the left shoulder to the inside and descend further. Crown of the head reaches down towards the mat and fingertips reach up towards the ceiling. Slow, steady breaths here. Using your next inflow to find alignment, bringing the crown of the head back up, we'll release the grip, simultaneously pivoting on the ball of that back foot, and then letting the right knee come down towards the mat. Taking that half splits on the left side, untuck the back toes, start to lengthen out to the left leg, and reaching the hands forward here. Only taking it to your edge, once again, discovering those boundaries that we all have within our body, not forcing it, but finding acceptance. Utilizing the strength of your next inhale to gently find a bend back into that left knee. Reaching forward here once again into that low lunge, curling under the back toes, find some stability in the hands, and then take that big step forward, coming into your forward fold once again. Inhaling to that halfway rise. Then exhale, let the arms dangle out long in front, navel towards the spine, chin to chest, just as we did before. Slowly peel yourself back up. Opening up once again into Tadasana. Palms face the front of the room. Chest is open and breath is flowing. Notice the rhythm of the breath here. Notice the movement. Notice if the energy is equal from side to side. As we start to prepare for a balanced posture. On an inhale, sweep the arms up towards heart center. Begin to shift the weight over to the right sole of the foot. Bending up the left knee. I'm going to take the left hand to the inside of the left foot so that the big thumb comes parallel to the big toe. Activating our dancer pose. We're going to bring the left knee to press down towards the earth and notice that shift of the hips forward, feeling that activation here. If this is enough, choose to stay. Maybe reaching that arm out in front or slightly up ahead. Working with this, otherwise adding some movement here. We're going to add a hinge and a back bend. So a lot of times we start to focus solely on the hinge, and what we see happening is just leaning forward, not really adding any sort of stretch. So what we want to focus on is more so the back bend part here. So kicking the foot into the back hand, and then a subtle hinge as we lean forward to really open up that back body, and as well as the legs, the shoulders, lots of stuff happening here. So start to breathe fully into the core and deeply out through the nose. Find that drishti, that focal point out in front, a non-moving object. Last breath, fully in. And exhale, slowly begin to return back to neutral here. Roll out the wrists. Go ahead and roll out that right ankle. Kind of taking some releasing movements, maybe roll out through the shoulders if that feels good. Play around with it a little bit here, whatever you need to release. And we'll prepare for that on the other side. So sweeping the arms up overhead, take up space, and then exhale, pull it in towards your heart center. One round of breath, fully in. Shift the weight over towards the left sole of the foot as we bend up that right leg. So same thing on this side. We're going to take the right hand to the inside, thumb and big toe come parallel. Activating first by pressing the knee down towards the earth and the hips forward. Now we can choose to stay, maybe reaching that arm out in front or up ahead. And again, if you would like, we can add that back bend and hinge. So reaching forward just as far as feels good for you. We don't need to force this. You should be able to feel a nice stretch. Breathing all the way in and all the way out. Feeling that focus. Finding your center. Last breath. With your exhale, gently releasing and returning back to neutral. Once again, we can roll out through the wrists and then roll out that left ankle. Maybe one more time, rolling out through the shoulders here. Taking any movements that you feel necessary. Before making our way back into stillness, on an inhale, sweeping the arms up. As you exhale, look up and lean back. Nice, beautiful, deep back bend here. Full breath in to find extension. Deep breath out as we take that hinge forward, all the way down. Beautiful. On an inhale, lifting to that halfway rise. And as you exhale, go ahead and plant the palms here, taking that forward fold, and then a nice step or float back, coming into that high plank. Flowing through a vinyasa. Shift the weight forward, bend the elbows, full breath in, open the heart, and deep breath out, downward facing dog. Start to witness the thoughts that we get when we return to this home base. As we prepare to make a transition down onto our sit bones here, we can either send the knees down to the mat, or we can take a little bit of a hop through here. What the hop through looks like is lifting to the balls of the feet, starting to bend the knees, and then you can start to shift your gaze forward. As you take that deep bend, we're just going to take a small little hop, crossing at the ankles as we do so, and softly returning onto our sit bones. Legs can come out long in front, taking any adjustments in clothing that you need to, releasing the flesh from underneath the bone to make sure that we're nice and rooted here in this seated staff pose. So we're going to get into this slowly. On an inhale, start to sweep the arms up, creating lines from the tailbone to the crown of the head. Slightly lean forward here, not too deep. And then on an inhale, finding neutral. As you exhale, slightly lean back. Inhale, come back through center. Exhale, lean forward a little bit further, creating that line still. On an inhale, coming back up to a nice tall spine. This time, as you exhale, sweep the arms forward as you lean back even further, feeling that counterbalance here. Breathe in and lift the arms back up towards the ceiling. Exhale, deepest fold yet, but not holding just yet. On an inhale, lifting back up through center. Same thing as you exhale, sweep the arms forward and see if you can lean back even further than you did before. Full breath in, we return to that neutral spine. This time we can go ahead and relax as we lean all the way forward, finding ourselves in that forward fold. Feel free to take a little bit of a pedal movement into the hamstrings by bending one. We can bend both knees, keeping a nice deep bend here. Just find what fits with your body, creating length from the hips, not from the low back. So we don't want to round to the low back, but keeping everything nice and neutral. Notice the breath. As we close the eyes here, if we bring our chin towards our chest, can we feel any sort of sensation through the neck or the back body? What do we discover about ourselves here in this forward fold? Stay with the breath. Using the strength of an inhale to gently find length, we're just going to lift halfway out of it. This time we want to find length from our legs as much as possible as we create peace fingers to big toe. We're going to start to pull some compression onto the legs here. So pulling the toes back towards our bodies as we send the heels towards the front of the room. We want to keep our head lifted for this so that we can create the most length from the back body. So just reaching forward as far as feels good. Continue to look slightly above the mat or out in front. Just adding a little bit of tension to this stretch, loosening up a little further. Gently release And coming out of it here, finding that nice tall spine. We're going to take our left sole of the foot to the inside of the right thigh. Now notice the position of your left knee. Is it a little lifted off the ground? If it is, we want to make sure that we're actively applying pressure down towards that left knee to activate it. Turning our body over towards our right leg, nice tall spine, and as you exhale, begin to hinge forward from the hips. Creating length once again from the back body and just reaching as far as feels good for you. Noticing again those physical boundaries that we all have and cultivating acceptance. We want to find as much length through the leg as we can. So it's not really about how far we're stretching down. It's more about how long we're stretching out. So don't worry about the aesthetics. Go to what feels right for you. Continuing to breathe and follow the movements of the breath. With your next inhale, begin to extend the crown of the head, finding length. From here, we're going to drag that right heel into the center of the mat a little bit more lined up, and then we're just going to take the left knee and cross it over the right leg, preparing for a spinal twist. So we're going to allow our left hand to come to the base of the spine, and then taking our right arm in front, the elbow pit's going to hook around towards the knee. And our fingertips are going to come towards our side body, shifting our gaze out over that back shoulder, finding length from the spine, so not dumping forward or tilting out to the side, but keeping everything nice and straight. Breath is still coming all the way into the belly, regardless of the shape that we create. Last breath. With your exhale, gently unwinding, resetting the body at neutral. Go ahead and shake the legs out here if you need to, and we'll take it to the other side, bending in the right sole of the foot to the left thigh and making sure that the left heel is slightly towards the left corner. Squaring yourself out over that left leg and then gently begin to pour yourself forward. Once again, one side is always different than the other. Cultivate that awareness. What does this side feel like in comparison to the other? Take the slow, deep, relaxing breaths, any little subtle shifts that you need to feel a deeper stretch or welcome. We're never stuck in a posture. Using your strength of the next inhale, we'll gently and slowly begin to pull our bodies back up through to center. It's taking the same variation of twist as we did on the last side, leveling out the left heel into the center of the mat and crossing the right leg over top of the left. This time our right hand is going to come to the base of the tailbone. Left elbow pit will hook around on top of the knee as we shift our gaze out over that back shoulder. Nice deep breaths. Feeling the calmness flush over the nervous system. Beautiful. One last full breath in. And as you exhale, gently unwinding, bringing the body back through to center. Go ahead and shake the legs out again if you need to. And we're going to sit up for our seated meditation. So take a comfortable seat. I'm choosing Sukhasana here. And we're going to take some conscious belly breathing. So we're going to start to bring our hands to our abdominals, just in a comfortable position here. And without changing anything about the breath, just witness it in its natural rhythm. And then choosing to manipulate that breath. As we inhale, pressing the belly out, filling the lungs completely. And as we exhale, feel the belly draw in. Taking these full, complete breaths and connecting to the deepest, subtlest parts of our energetic self. Continue on with this breathing, allowing that feeling of relaxation to sweep over the body. Couple more breaths here. Last one, fully in, fully out. Then just go ahead and allow the hands to relax gently onto the knees, palms facing skyward to invite in some energy. And just letting everything settle into place here. Witnessing the body as it is, and cultivating some one-pointedness with the mind. Bring your awareness and your attention to the center of the forehead. That space known as the third eye chakra. And begin to pull your breath into that center. Start to cultivate awareness from where you're pulling the breath. Pulling it just from the space in front of your body. Feeling it pass through the nostrils, through the passage and up in to your third eye center. Feeling the wave and the pulsation of life here. In this moment, feeling the utmost stillness and knowing that nothing matters but this breath and this one and this one. Continuing to breathe into the center of the forehead for just a few more breaths. Relaxing the body further with every exhale. Last one. Bringing some life and awareness back into the body here, back into the space around you. Start to clench the fists nice and tight and then star the fingers nice and wide. On an inhale, sweeping the arms up overhead. Feel free to keep the eyes closed as you exhale, bringing the palms through to that third eye center. Pausing here. There is a fire that burns within me, that gives me life, that provides me consciousness. It has many names, and from whatever you want to call that place in me, I honor and recognize that same space within each and every one of you. It's been my honor to practice with you all today. Together we bow and say, Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day.